Alrighty, welcome back, boys and girls. It's your main math man, Mr. Shank, coming to you live from Walker Graham Middle School. And in this video, we're still working on that SOL review guide, and we're now on that 7.6. And so we're talking about those quadrilaterals and being able to talk about those properties and similarities / differences. Also, make sure you can determine those unknown side lengths or those angle measures. So for number one, it says which statement is false. And so you want to make sure, okay, I can say it is true because of this, or it is false because of this. And I could say actually the one that is false is going to be all rhombuses are squares. And you know that because those do not have those rhombuses don't always have those right angles, which squares do, and so we know this is false. For number two, it says every rhombus is also, and we'd say it is also a parallelogram. Again, it's 4 sides since quadrilateral, but those opposite sides are parallel and congruent. For number three, it says which classification must describe the figure below. So we got a couple right angles, we have 4 sides. However, for a square, we need 4 right angles, and so A and C are definitely incorrect. And then for a trapezoid and a parallelogram, they can't be the same thing, because if you look, those are 2 different groups. And so again, a trapezoid has 1 pair of parallel sides, where a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel sides, which can't be both of them at the same time. And so it's going to be a trapezoid and a quadrilateral. Moving on to number 4, it says which of the following statements are true about all rectangles. And so we're going to say this, we're going to say, all right, are all sides congruent? Not necessarily. However, all angles are going to be congruent. They're all 90 degrees, so we're going to say all 90 degrees. What about the sum of the angles is 180? False. We know that is 360. What about the opposite sides of parallel? You better believe it. Are the diagonals congruent? Yes, they are. And are they perpendicular bisectors? Not necessarily. However, for number 5, it says which quadrilateral would best fit in the shaded region of the Venn diagram. So we're talking about this region in here. So make sure you're saying, okay, this group has diagonals are congruent. This group has all 4 sides are congruent. Those are separate. However, in the middle, it's both of these at the same time. And so the only one that's both of them at the same time is going to be a square. On the diagonals are congruent, we can say we have rectangles, and parallelograms. And that just means that the rhombuses, the rhombi, are going to be the only ones that have 4 sides are congruent. So we're going to say rhombus for that. And number 6, it says in rhombus WXYZ, line XY is 7. What is the measure of angle WX? Well, we would say, all right, since it is a rhombus, we know that it's going to be 7 as well, since all sides are congruent. And then lastly, number 7, it says trapezoid ABCD has the measure of angle A being 75 degrees. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. That's okay. Complete the diagram to show the measure of the angles B, C, and D. All right. Don't worry, I covered my mouth when I sneezed, and I'll wash my hands right after this. So now, using those lines, we know that angle B is going to be the same as angle A, and so we know that's 75 degrees as well. Then we're saying, okay, we have 2 angles that are also going to be the same. However, what is the total of those angles? Well, we know that the total amount is going to be 360. And when we have to say, okay, well, we know these 2 angles, so we're going to add those 2 together and subtract. So we're going to say minus 150. And then we can say, all right, what's remaining is 210. And so that means I have to, between these 2 angles, I have to say that they are 210 degrees. And so we would say, all right, both angles are going to be 105 degrees.